Well, what's going on, family? It is Wednesday, the third day of November, and we have moved from Mental Health Mondays to Wellness Wednesdays. We are on the scene. Yours truly, Joe Dupree, 100 BLK, the Black Station, along with my good friend from Positive Choices Counseling Services
Sure.
Incorporated, Mr. Edward Brown. Mr. Brown, we're back. We're back. We're
We're
back.
back, baby. We're back. What's going on, man? How you been?
Man, I am doing great as we get into some great conversation. Let's talk about
Absolutely.
mental health. Let's talk about, things that will make you whole and well because a healthy you
It's a
is a better you.
absolutely. We're all
And
about
we're going to
making you a better you.
right,
I'm
right.
glad to
We're
be
going to get
back with
into
you, my
some
brother.
man, me too. Me too. And before we even kick this all off, uh what about those Jaguars? That's
Hey,
all
man.
I can say.
Sometimes when you don't want to make people feel bad, just wave your hand. Look.
What
Hey,
about
man,
them
the Jags.
Jaguars? That's all.
Listen, the
That's
Jags
all I
did.
can say.
The Jags did what I asked them to do, which is just fight, man. You fight from the beginning of a game to the end. Most of the time, the outcome is all right. And even if it's not, you feel good about your effort. And that's what I
That's
feel
what.
good about the effort the Jags put on.
Well, tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this with a friend every Wednesday, starting this Wednesday, and we're going to go all the way into the new year. We're going to be talking about mental health because we want you to be well. We want you to be whole, and that's why we call this Wellness Wednesdays. Because a healthy you is a better you. Now, tonight we're going to start this off. With, we got some few things we're going to break down. So first, we're going to talk about the taboo of needing some mental health services. Many a times folks need mental health services and are reluctant to go get it because of the taboos
The
and
stigma.
all the stigmas around getting mental health help. We're also going to talk about the holidays because the holidays ain't happy for everybody. And that's going to kind of trickle over into we just still in the midst of a global pandemic. A lot
Absolutely.
of us went through a lot of loss during this global pandemic of loved ones, family members, friends. And, let's just be honest. Some of these Thanksgiving tables ain't going to look like they looked a year ago.
Absolutely. It's a lot of change. Something we don't deal with well as people is change.
And, and last but not least, we're going to talk about something that we kind of spoke about the last time that Brother Brown was on, and he was on with Fatim and I. And of course, I do another talk show on Tuesday. But many a times, the struggle of trying to provide, the social economical stress of you out there rushing and working hard and working 2 and 3 and 4 jobs and still ain't able to get everything that everybody wants for the holidays can be a mental stress on folks. So let's get into the conversation with
It,
my man, Mr. Edward Brown. First, brother, let's talk about the taboo that's normally attached with, man, I need to go sit down and talk to somebody professional because I need some help because I'm going through a mental crisis.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, as especially in the African American community, we are as far apart with mental health services as any group of people that I know. One of the reasons is because we're not very trusting. And in
Mm,
order to engage in mental health treatment, you are saying, I'm going to allow you as a mental health professional to get into my deepest, most, personal, interactions, lack of interactions, situations, and our feelings. We
mm,
don't like to let people deal with our feelings because it makes us vulnerable.
correct.
And we are not willing to be vulnerable, especially with a stranger. So the best way that I get my clients and people that work for me and the people I teach to help individuals deal with seeking mental health services, look at it from this perspective. Mental health professionals are specialists. We are individuals who are trained just like optometrists when you have a problem with your eyes, or
Hmm.
a dentist when you have a problem with, if you have a problem with your tooth and your jaw is swollen, you don't feel real, uncomfortable about walking into that dentist and or letting
Correct.
people know you went to the dentist. You're okay.
Right.
You can go and get that tooth pulled, or that antibiotics or whatever it may be and feel comfortable with it. But when it comes to our mental health, we don't feel as comfortable reaching out because of the stigma that goes with it. Now, that's the first thing. We're specialists. So we need to normalize people going to mental health services. If we can make that as normal as getting your eyes checked or a podiatrist for your feet, then you will see that stigma leave. But here's the second part. Let's say you don't want anybody to know. The foundation of mental health services is confidentiality. What you go and speak to a mental health professional about is between you and that mental health professional. We are bound by what's called our code of ethics. And one of those is making sure that confidentiality is a premier part of your ethical makeup. Now, there are a few circumstances in which we may have to breach confidentiality, and that is in the case of suicide, if we believe that you're going to hurt yourself, or if we believe you're going to hurt someone else, then it's called duty to warn. We're by law obligated to let individuals know that you're serious, you have a plan, that you plan on executing in regards to harming yourself or others. Then we have to violate that trust. But other than that, there is a strong, solid foundation of confidentiality when you're seeking mental health services. And you do not have to worry about your mental health professional sharing your personal business, your vulnerability with anyone outside of that private session that you may have. So, that's one of the biggest issues when we work with children. If you're doing an individual session and you have to look at that parent and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to be able to run out here and tell you everything that this person is telling me, because I need them to trust me. If they don't trust me, they're not going to open up to me. Most of the time, parents are okay with it. But, you get those ones that, I'm fine with it. And as soon as the session is over, what they tell you, what they talk about, what they say. And that goes back to some other variables. People don't like to know that family secrets have gotten out and things like that. So, in regards to this stigma and this ugly image that mental health has seemed to have gotten over the years, we have to normalize people getting treatment just like we normalize people going to other specialists. If we can do that, you will see people, and one of the good things is that we're beginning to see more and more celebrities come out with their interaction with mental health treatment. And that's helping it become more normalized as well. When you start looking at people, basketball players, and we had a lot of gymnasts in this Olympics come out and say, I'm having a problem, with my mental health, and I'm going to step away for a little bit. Tennis players saying the same thing. So the more we get high profile individuals to open up about their struggles with mental health, then it becomes just as normal as individuals needing eyeglasses. So we're hoping that will begin to erase that stigma, because unfortunately, we don't take a proactive approach to mental health. We are in a reactive society. Something has to happen in order for people to really truly embrace mental health services. And we got to change that as well. But that's another topic for another day, I guess.
Well, we're going to get into a lot of good conversation. You can join in, tell a friend to tell a friend. We already got people commenting that they're happy that we're having this conversation, because many a times we talk about, like you said, all the other things. I've been in media a long time, and I've had a lot of people that come to my platform or come on to some of the mediums that I've worked at. I've had doctors, and I've had lawyers, and I've had eye doctors, and I've had dentists, and I've had all kind of people. I've had cancer specialists, but there's very few folks that come in and want to talk about the mental health aspect of what's going on. And here's the crazy thing: we are plagued by mental health issues a great deal.
Absolutely.
Suicide rates, when you look at
Absolutely.
some of the crime rates and some of the behaviors that are going on, and that's the one thing I really want to start addressing,
Hmm.
the behaviors.
Absolutely.
Many a times we always want to talk this, that, these, and those, but we don't want to address the behaviors that lead people to do certain things.
You know, it's funny because you know, I when I talk to people, I always have a ton of analogies, and the mind is the computer of the body.
Mm,
Now we look at all of these cars. You can drive a brand new car off the lot. If the computer system in that car goes down,
that's it.
that's a done deal. The car will not run. The tires are brand new, the engine is brand new, the transmission is brand new. But if the computer goes down, you will see that car will cease to work. Once your mind begins to have hiccups, as I call them, and they could be things as such as anxiety, nervousness on the job,
Mm,
depression. You can have like I said, we have anxiety, we have depression, and people always ask me, well, how do I know if I'm depressed? What is depression?
mm,
And we always give a definition of depression is an overwhelming sense of sadness. And sometimes, most times, you don't really know why. It's just like having on a big, heavy coat that constantly makes you feel as though no matter what you do, even if you do things that you enjoy, you still have that sense of sadness. And you may be suffering from depression. We see people who have anxiety and they're like, I'm just always nervous. I'm always on edge. What's going on with me? These are things and that can be triggered by a number of different variables that we experience in the life cycle. We're going to talk later on about loss, and when we start talking about the grief process, it's one of the few processes in the life cycle that incorporates almost every emotion there is. So we'll get into that later on as we continue with the podcast. But right now, when we start looking at getting people to say, I'm going to do what I have to do regardless of the stigma, regardless of what anyone else thinks, I need help. And then I tell the story about me. I was at Alcorn. It was maybe my second year. And I'm up there teaching the best. And one of the students raised their hand and she said, Mr. Brown, where are you in the book? I said, I'm on page 2, the second paragraph. And I'm going on and on and on. And she was like, I don't see it. And I looked there and she finally said, that's not what that says. And I'm looking up with my eyes all squint together. And the next class period I came and I had these. And I remember saying, oh my God, that's not what that said. I had to come to grips with,
I needed glasses.
I need some glasses.
I need some
So
glasses.
sometimes when we see ourselves not performing at our best, there should be no apprehension. There should be no hesitation. We're reaching out to get mental health services the same way we do if we have eye problems or mouth problem or problems with
Any health problem. How you would seek out a doctor for any health problems. And this is a good place for us to let you know that if you do need any counseling type services, let them know, Mr. Brown, the services that you provide at Positive Choices Counseling Services. He does have 3 locations, one in Vidalia, one in Jonesville, and one here in Lafayette. But let them know the services you provide in counseling and who you could counsel to.
And one of the things that we always say is make that call. If you believe that you can use a qualified mental health professional, someone to talk to, someone to take this journey in life that's not always as easy as we'd like it to be, call Positive Choices. Pick up the phone and dial one of the numbers to one of the offices, and you will get in touch with a certified, qualified. That's what one of the mission parts of our mission statement is. We provide quality mental health services. You will find that individual that will talk to you, You could get an assessment. We do individual, we do group counseling, we do family, we do couples. If you just reach out, then everybody's path to mental health is individualized. So what one person would get, it's not cookie cut. You get an individualized treatment plan, individualized services specific to your needs. So I always tell people it starts with that acceptance that I need help, make that phone call, and then that starts the process, and get someone to help you walk that journey.
Yeah, definitely do that. I tell people all the time, there come situations, circumstances, and events in your life that you need somebody who is a professional to talk you through.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where we're going to transition into one of our subjects for tonight about the holidays.
Yeah.
Holiday season is here, and the holidays is not happy for everyone, especially we're coming out of this global pandemic. It looks like we're getting on the other side of the mountain, but we're still in the midst of a global pandemic. There's a lot of people waking up this November, getting ready for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and it looks nothing like it looked last year or the year before that or the year before that, before COVID, because they have lost a loved one, they
Mhm.
have lost family members, they have lost friends, folks that they could conversate and talk to are no longer there. And that coming up on you this time of year, and all of a sudden you realizing so and so's not here anymore.
Mhm.
COVID took them.
Mhm.
Can put you in a very mental unstable place.
Mhm. We assume that everybody's holidays are like our holidays. We get excited about Thanksgiving, we get excited about having family and friends over, and we can eat, and that's usually when football bowl games start, and we have family traditions that have been passed on from one generation to the next. Let's address the first part. Not everybody has those family traditions. Sometimes I tell people, look around, and there's gonna be little signs when you're excited. Oh, I can't wait for the holidays. You'll see people say, "Well, yeah, they're coming." Sometimes you have to be very conscious of the way people respond to the holidays. And what may happen is you may find yourself just offering to bring them a meal, offering them a kind word, a phone call, letting them know if you can't have them, because we are still in the middle of a pandemic. So I'm not telling everybody to go out and invite everybody to your house. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. But there's nothing like a kind word, because this holiday may be symbolic of one thing for you, but it's symbolic of something else for someone else. And you talked about loss, and you're exactly right. This will be the first year we don't have Big Mama at the Thanksgiving table. This may be the first year we don't have a child that maybe we lost recently at the table. So, how do you go through the holiday season when you have things like that going on? So, one of the things that I always talk about is we have to remember to always never lose touch with the purpose of the holiday. Because sometimes for us, unfortunately, it becomes about eating and it becomes about fellowship. When in actuality, it's really about being thankful.
Mm.
What are you grateful and thankful for? And this is the part that's really difficult as a grief therapist. We are too easily pushed in the direction of mourning someone's death instead of celebrating someone's life.
Ooh, I like that one.
So we have a tendency to easily say, well, we did lose, and I'm gonna miss them. So, but what about the 20 years or the 50 years that you had before that? And when we start to talk about the grief process, there's some things I'm gonna say more in regards to that. But during the holiday season, think about it in terms of, I'm very grateful for you, Brother Joe. You coming into my life this past year or so has really made a difference.
Same here.
You know what I mean? It's made a difference. So, whether I got to play the turkey or the best dressing in the world, I have a friendship that I can be thankful for.
Amen.
So, even people who are deep in there, as they say, the darkest place during the holidays, if you sat with them, I bet we call it strengths perspective from a therapeutic standpoint. You can say, I'm sure there's something that you're thankful for.
Right.
Right. Well, I'm still alive. Well, let's not minimize that. Let's harp on that. Let's look at that.
Right.
Let's expunge on that. I mean, let's make it. You are alive, aren't you? And you're looking pretty good, by the way.
All right. That's
and before
it.
you know it, just a kind word will change the way someone is viewing the holiday. But we cannot walk through this holiday season assuming everybody is confetti and balloons, because they're not.
Well, Brother Brown, I want to bring this up because somebody just messaged me on this. One thing that I think people really need to not take for granted is the ability to look at someone they know and ask this simple question: Are you okay?
How you doing? That's right.
Are you okay?
That's right.
Let me just. Are you okay? I know that things have changed because, like you said, some folks have lost children. Some folks have lost their significant other.
Jobs.
Some folks have lost a parent or a grandparent, an auntie, a close friend, somebody they grew up with, somebody who they said, I can't believe that this person's not here anymore. Somebody that they were in high school with, that they were in college with, that all of a sudden now, due to this global pandemic, is no longer here. And sometimes when you get in your quiet place, you say, Lord, why'd they take them? Why?
But there's so many jacked up people you could have took. Why you took the good people, Lord?
Right.
But one of the things that you just said is, why do you think it's very profound to look at a person and just say, are you okay? It's just a simple question. What's so profound about it? What's so big about such a little question? The issue and the answer to that is, it shows you care. You care about how I'm feeling. You care about what's going on with me at that particular moment. And when you walking around and you feeling, down, you have a tendency to believe nobody understands or cares about what you're going through. And the simple question of, are you okay? What's been going on, man? How you doing? What? And you see that surprised look sometimes. Yeah, I want to know what's going on with you. And all of a sudden, that weight on your shoulder may seem a little bit lighter because there's someone else that cares about what I'm going through. At least, if nothing else, taking a second out to hear about it. You really care? Absolutely. I want to know what's going on with you. So I tell people all the time, ask somebody, how you doing? You okay? You need to talk?
Right.
Do you need to talk? Do you need a minute? And you'll be surprised. That right there. I have a real short story I want to tell. I remember I was working in New Orleans, and I took over a group called the Survive Group. And there was a lady that came every week. And this lady never said anything. I mean, I did that group for a year, if maybe two. And if she said 5 sentences, she said a lot. And then I came I said, I got some bad news. I'm going to be moving. I was moving to Mississippi. And when they threw me the little party on the last day, she came up to me and she said, I want to thank you for giving me a reason to make it to the next week. And I was like, I never thought you got anything out of this group. She said, when I left this group on Monday nights, I made it through the rest of the week knowing that I was going to be here the following Monday. She said, there was days I thought about taking my life. She said, but I knew I was going to see these ladies in this group, and you were going to be here helping us through this grief process. And it made me say, wow, I never knew. But my mentor at the time told me, well, she was getting something because she was coming every week. whether she said something or not. But it made me realize just the words of fellow individuals or as a therapist made it more bearable for her from day to day to day until she made it to the following week. We have to have that mentality during the holiday season. Reach somebody that could use a kind word, that could use a conversation. Just have a conversation with them.
Right.
And
Because you don't know what they're going through. The crazy thing, you see people every day, but you don't know what that person that you work with, that person that's on the job, you don't know what they're going through. And sometimes, just asking a simple question, how are you doing? Is everything okay? You need to talk. You don't seem like you normally seem, because it's the holidays. I'm going to transition on something that you and I talked about that we're going to talk about in this broadcast. Just think about this, especially with people of color. A lot of us are quite successful, but even in the levels of our success, we're always striving for more. We're always striving to give more. And quote unquote, a lot of us try to keep up with the Joneses.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the stress of the holidays coming on, and you have children wanting XYZ, you have a significant other wanting XYZ, you're only making so much. I know people out there that are working 2, 3, 4 jobs just trying to keep the lights on, nevertheless trying to keep the lights on and provide during the holidays to keep up with everyone else, because you don't want your kids not to have, you don't want your significant other not to have, you don't want to be feeling like it's not enough. But the truth about it is, many a times what you're doing is not enough. And that's where you've got to look the man or the woman in the mirror and begin to say, maybe I need to sit down and talk to somebody who will make me understand that I can only do what I can do, and it's okay.
All I can do is all I can do.
Right.
And one of the things that we really have to, and as a society, we lose track sometimes of the reason for the season, as they say. But as a behaviorist and someone that works with children and adults, there's a couple of misconceptions that we have as adults regarding children. At a certain age, it's not about what it is. It's about how much of it and who it comes from. I remember when we first started Positive Choices, I didn't have a lot of money. We didn't, we wanted to do something for the clients. And I remember saying, if I took $100, I could go to the dollar store and buy 100 toys. Now, to me, it's $1 toy. But when you get a kid and you give them a bag and there's 5 or 6 different toys in that bag, you would swear that was $1,000 worth of toys.
You're right.
Because to them, it's new and it's a toy.
You're right.
And 2, you gave it to me. And that's what I tell people who deal with that anxiety of, am I going to be able to provide that $1,000 gaming system that my kid wants? You will be surprised if that child had an opportunity to spend an hour with you doing something or getting that game. You would be surprised. They're going to want the gaming system. Not always. I can spend an hour with you doing what I want to do. We can go and we're going to ride or we're going to hang out. Kids love spending time with their parents and their loved ones, even when it's not flooded with gifts.
Right.
We put that burden on ourselves as parents for one reason and one reason only. They asked for it. They asked for it. So they asked for it, and we hate to say that those 2 letters, we put them together to make that big old word. We hate to say no to our kids.
This is true.
But sometimes you have to be. One more thing, Joe, real quick.
Come on.
I remember, with my kids when they were little, I said I can spend $30 on pizza. I could get my kids to come on right now. They'll tell you. I would go and buy a 99-cent pizza. Each one of them had their own. and I bought a bunch of some extra ground meat, some extra cheese, and the pepperoni. And I said, okay, we're gonna make our own pizzas. I was daddy of the decade. Every time I was like, this is make your own pizza night. I mean, my son, of course, he had his stacked this high,
Right.
but it was his, and
Right.
we made them together. Now that cost me $10, but it was more. He wanted to see what mine looked like. I paid attention to his, and we looked at his sisters, and we forget sometimes that the greatest gift our kid, because just because they grow up don't mean they don't love us. Do you remember when you couldn't go to the bathroom without that joker following you to the bathroom? That's that same joker. They're just a little bit older now.
Right.
And they want different things, but they don't want those things more than they want you.
Right.
No matter how much they act like they do.
Odie, and Brother Brown, you got to ask yourself this question. What is the biggest memories you have from your childhood? Is it the stuff or the times that you spent with your mom and dad?
Or things that happen. Yeah.
Right. And then we got to deal with the truth about it. In today's society, things are so different. There's a lot of blended families. There's a lot of families. The traditional family don't look like the traditional family used to look like. You may have two fathers. You may have two mothers. There's different ways. And, we're going to have to start really, and throughout this newly kindled podcast, we're going to start talking about some very uncomfortable subjects. But family, we still got to talk. You can't shun folks or make people feel less than. Suicide rates amongst people of color are at an all-time high.
Especially during the holidays.
Yes. There's two things we're doing. If we not killing ourselves with suicide rates, we definitely out here trying to kill each other. So if you look at the crime rate and the suicide rate, come on, family, we've got to really start saying there is a problem, and the problem is just not what we're being told that it is. We've got to understand that we have professionals. We have people who are willing to sit down and have conversations and try. And some of you don't only need conversation, you need medication.
Yeah, hey,
I said it.
Hey, yeah, well, we have a tendency to sometimes want to shun away from medication, and the example that I always use is that one of cereal. We can eat whatever your favorite is. I eat it right out the box watching the game, but when you take it and you put it with some good milk, good cold milk, it changes the whole experience. Counseling should always go along with medication. Now that's the way I feel about if you have medication, it should always go along with counseling. But you can have counseling without medication. The issue is to reach out and seek that professional help. Ask the counselor, what is your specialty? What do you feel is your strength as a counselor? Do you think you can help me with the problems that I have? It is very important that you like your counselor.
Right.
It's very important. There's a theorist named Piaget, and Piaget, and by all means, I'm paraphrasing, says if a individual does not like their therapist, they will not engage in the therapeutic process. So, we have to look at the fact that we have to look inside of ourselves and say, I need help. Joe, I was sitting up there in front of those children reading just as wrong out of that book.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I had to look at myself and say, you know what? I got to get me some glasses. It made me a better me, and it made me a better instructor. So when you're sitting here and you're trying to deal with depression alone, anxiety alone,
come on,
you're trying to deal with all of these, you could be very, very manic sometimes, and you don't know why.
Right.
And you're trying to deal with all of this alone. That's where people say, am I crazy because I can't see you? No. Me going without these glasses when I know I needed them is crazy. You dealing with the toothache when you know you need to see a dentist is crazy. If you have issues with mental health and you don't get help, that's a problem.
Right. Hold it. And watch this. And everyone has situations, circumstances, and things that arise in their life
Hmm.
that they
Oh,
need to sit down and talk to a counselor on some level to come to a place where they come full circle and have a sense of wellness and
mhm.
wholeness within the situation. I like to take time out, and I see we got a few viewers on here. I like to say what's up to Miss Hairston, also to Miss Armstead, to Miss Ladavia. We appreciate you being on here. Share this with a
Absolutely.
friend, tell a friend to tell a friend, because we have to start tackling mental health in our
Absolutely.
communities of color and make it not a taboo or a stigma, that we become healthy and whole. That's why we're doing these Wellness Wednesdays. We're going to be here every Wednesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I know some folks are on the East Coast, some folks are in other different time zones, and this is also going to be out there for you to share it when it's over, because we're going to continue the conversation. We're going to be talking about blended families. We're going to be
Oh,
talking about how do you deal with your children if your
I was
children
gonna
all of
say
a sudden.
parenting. See that
Right,
one on parenting?
right,
That man, because you stepping on people's toes when you gonna tell me how to raise my child. Ooh, parenting is gonna be one of those ones. Relationships is gonna
right.
be another one of those ones that's gonna, have a lot of people required to look within themselves.
Right. We're going to be talking about a lot. We're going to be talking about how you deal with a child that's living an alternative lifestyle.
Hmm.
How do your child deal with you if you have an alternative lifestyle? How do
Oh,
your child go and deal with folks when they say, "Well, I got mommy and mommy at home," or
yeah.
"I got
Mommy,
daddy and daddy at home"?
mommy.
We're going to talk about some very uncomfortable things. We're going to talk about dealing with being a person of color. Come
Mm.
on.
Oh,
So many times we don't talk about just waking up being a person of color, what stress that can be mentally in today's society, dealing with the issues we deal today. We're going to talk about dealing with law enforcement, dealing
mm,
with the legal system, dealing
absolutely.
with the legislative system, because guess what? All that can put a mental stress up on you.
Mm. We,
So
we we have we have these systematic, problems that we are too busy trying to sweep under the rug. We have two ends of the spectrum. We either do nothing or we go over the top with it. We have to start being proactive in dealing with a lot of these issues that impact us personally. We teach on the micro, the meso, and the macro level, the individual and the community and society. So we need to really prepare ourselves for some of these conversations and talk about these things. It's not always very easy to put out there. I tell people all the time, there's certain things we don't like to talk about. Sex,
come on.
politics, death. These are some of the things that we hate talking about. We
Correct.
got to get over that because it's running rampant through our communities, especially Black communities. So we have to get to the point where we're comfortable with these discussions and definitely proactive, coming up with solutions, problem solving, and supporting one another.
Right. Family, I want to say this as you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen. That's the number to Positive Choices here in Lafayette. Also, the website, positivechoicescounseling.org. Definitely go to that website. There is all the answers you need of all the services that they provide. Because once again, a healthy you is a better you. And we want to see you well and whole.
Yeah.
And understand, listen, we're not only going to get into the mental health aspect, but mental health affects how you eat. So we're
Oh,
going to have some, we're going to bring some nutritionists on here to talk about
absolutely.
healthy eating and how
Absolutely.
healthy eating is connected to mental health. Some people have have
Really
have,
good,
have,
brother Joe.
have really put themselves in a place where we've got to grab ourselves back and put ourselves where we belong, where we are healthy, where we are whole, and where we are our brother and our sister's keeper. And
Absolutely.
I believe that that's one of the reasons God blessed me to meet this brother. And he and we kicked it off since day one. His family and my family, we like big time family, and
Yeah,
I laugh. I laugh because this is the funny thing. Even though most folks think I am a Southern Jaguar, and I am a son
we
of
adopted
Southern.
you, Joe. We adopted you, man. We
I am
adopted
a son. I am a son of Southern, but there's real black and gold to run in my veins from the Grambling State University,
I,
and we got the
we gotta
Bayou
love y'all
Classic.
too, though.
You
God
know,
say we gotta love y'all too, son.
But
say
you
we gotta
know,
love y'all too. You know?
now here's the crazy thing. When I start talking about these things, as you see, we're laughing and we're joking. But right now, there's somebody somewhere. And I give you a prime example. Talking about the Grambling State University. You know, a lot of folks were always looking forward to two things: the Battle of the Bands and the Greek show when it comes down to the Bayou Classic. And anybody who knows the Grambling State University knows LT. And LT tragically this year lost a battle with cancer, you know, and has not and is not a part of the Grambling. He used to be the announcer for the band, you know, and I know how that affected me because that was my friend, that was my brother. You know, we were both on the campus of Grambling at the same time, and many a times he would say things to me, and I would say things to him, and and just knowing that he's no longer here, you know, it makes me appreciate that you can't take life for granted
Correct.
because you don't know when your last day is going to be. And that's why I wanted to start having these wellness Wednesdays, because family, I want you to be at a place that you're at peace with everything, because the worst thing to do is to go through this life in turmoil when there are outlets that can help you achieve some
Absolutely.
peace. You know, I've seen too many young folks commit suicide, and I ask myself if that person just had somebody they could talk to,
Mhm.
somebody who could have eased their pain to the point that they didn't feel like they needed to take their life for that pain to leave out of them.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got to start saying there is nothing wrong with sitting down and talking to someone professional,
Mhm.
and trying to get whatever it is needed in order to fix the situation. Because too many times, and I'm not trying to be ugly, too
Mhm.
many times the only people we want to take it to are people who are really not qualified
Correct.
to
Correct.
to bring about the right resolution of wholeness and healing. Now, I have nothing wrong with the church. I love Jesus. I love the Lord. But guess what? Sometimes taking it to the Lord and to the pastor, you need to take it to someone professional, because they need to be able to diagnose you and to help you get whole and well. And we're going to talk about that too. I'm actually got a pastor friend that we're going to bring on here, and we're going to talk about how real pastors, real spiritual leaders will tell you there's only so much I can do outside the spiritual realm. There are some things that you need to consult with professionals who are counselors, who are psychologists, who are psychiatrists, who need to help you. Everything can't be helped with me saying Shada Mahanda and me
Mhm.
praying over you. I'm just saying.
One of
I'm
my
just
best
saying.
friends
I don't want
is
nobody to get mad, but I'm being real.
he's my pastor, and he, I mean, regularly, and I'm talking about almost weekly, he'll call and he'll say, you know, I need to talk to somebody that this your specialty. This not, I save souls, you save the minds. He says, so I'm calling you because I need your opinion about this, that, and the other. Can I send this person to you? You know, so yeah, that's true. If you look into the Lord, that's who you're supposed to look to. But guess what? The Lord gave us the skills
Mm,
to help individuals,
come on.
you know, because not everybody, and something you said a second ago is like, go to a professional. I said that earlier. We're professionals. We're not just winging this, shooting from the hip. We've been trained in the field of mental health. We've been trained in the area of service provision and theories of thought and human behavior and things like that. And you have to understand, just because somebody says, oh, well, I'll talk to you about your problems if you want, that does not make them a professional or an expert. And I always say this, just because I have pots don't mean I'm a chef.
Mm,
You know, I can, just because I can cook don't mean I can chef. If you ever watch the cooking channel, I don't even know what some of these seasonings are. I'm like, what is that? You know, so just because I like to eat and I can cook, don't make me a chef. Just because someone can talk to you, yes, we would rather you do that than commit suicide. But at the end of the day, seek professional help. Seek someone that's trained in the art of mental health services or human behavior, or like you said, some type of behavioral science. because these individuals are trained.
Right, right. I like the way you said that, and that was a perfect way to say it. Just because I have pots and pans don't make me a chef. Just because
Don't
I
make
have
this
a just because I have a set of socket wrenches don't make me a mechanic or a
you
person
don't
who
want
can
me
do
under the
some
hood of
home
your car.
or a person who can do some home repair just because I got a tool belt. So you need people who are professionally trained who can help you. You know, we're gonna have a lot of great conversation. Of course, every Tuesday I'm doing community conversation. This is the extension of community conversations, Wellness Wednesday, because we're going to have to start being the catalyst to bring the resolve into our communities where we ain't waiting for somebody from the outside to come inside and fix us, that we begin to fix and uplift ourselves. We've got to do better, starting with myself. And I'm going to use every platform I have, every means I have to get the message out that people know that they have people that they can go to, like Mr. Edward J. Brown from Positive Choices. As you see, the phone number is scrolling toward at the bottom along with the website. You can go right now to positivechoicescounseling.org. You can find out all the products and the services that they offer in mental health counseling, in wellness, and getting you whole. They counsel almost everybody,
Mm-hmm.
families,
Yeah.
children. If you're an individual and you have some court mandated counseling that you might
I was
need,
getting ready to talk about
anger management,
it.
conflict resolution,
That.
somebody, if you just look at the crime stats in our communities, and I'm not talking about when other folks come in our community and do the what's the guy's name, Wittenhouse or whatever. I don't even know the guy's name. It made me so mad. The young man that went and shot the people who were,
Oh yeah, the teenager.
yeah, the
Yeah.
teenager. So
Yeah.
I ain't talking about guys like that. That I feel like they need to be held to the extent of the law that some other folks get held to. But I'm talking about if you just look at what happens with us as a people, amongst us, we got to start speaking to one another and bringing about the change in our communities that we want to see, that we all rise up together, that we help each one be better, that we teach each one how to be better, that
Yeah.
we give you the information that's it, Kyle, that's it, Kyle Rittenhouse. Thank you, Miss Hurston.
Yeah.
I listen, family, we've got to wake up. And hopefully, through these series of conversation and podcasts and these broadcasts, we'll save. If I save just one, if I have
Yeah.
just one person who
Yeah.
says, "Look, I'm glad to know that this was out there for me to get the help I need," then I'm happy. Because and I want you to share this with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're on every Wednesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to have great guests, great conversations. I've got great news that the phone lines will be coming in real soon. So we'll
Oh,
be actually able to take your calls where you can tell us about what you're dealing with, and Mr. Brown can answer some of your questions in
question.
case in case you don't want to put it inside the chat on Facebook or on our social media platform. You can actually call in and we can have some great conversation and try to resolve some issues about mental health, about being well, about wholeness, and about getting what you need to be all you can be, and not only be the best you can be for yourself, but the best you can be for everyone around you.
Joe, we have some great things coming up for the month of November and going into the first of the year, even at Positive Choices. I know usually at the end you allow me to say a few things. I'm going to start it
Oh
right now.
yeah.
We do anger management and conflict resolution, court ordered anger management services. But this, hopefully, the beginning of the year, I'm going to be introducing some other classes for juveniles who've been caught up in theft. We have a curriculum for that. We have a curriculum for individuals who've been involved in gang activity, and they can come and participate in how to get out of the gang safely and things like that. I'm getting ready to put all of these curriculums in the hands of the judicial system, not only in Lafayette, but in Vidalia as well. And when these youth are getting involved in these issues and these problems, they can come to these classes. They'll get a certificate of completion, and the classes can go anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, 1 day out of the week. And we're going to be giving out good information. We need to help our children navigate through this world that's just nothing like the world we grew up in. You know, we're in a technological society where everything is done on a little bitty phone like this. So what I'm going to do is create these curriculums and pass them out to the individuals in the judicial system that's making these decisions about our children's lives, and let them know not all of our children need to be in juvenile facilities. Sometimes they just need to be educated.
Come on.
When we look back at where we came from, there were elders. And if you had a child and that child was there, you sent them to the elder. So the elder could teach them the ways that they should behave. Give them the education. Because one thing that I refuse to accept is that our children don't want to learn.
Come on.
You know, there's an example that I use. If you want to know how our children learn, get one of these new rap songs and make sure it's something they never heard. And you listen to it and they listen to it at the same time. And see who can repeat more the verses from those songs. And you're going to tell me our children got a learning problem? No, we have a teaching problem. What we have to do is we have to go back and teach them on the level that they learn. We can't walk around scared of these young brothers. You know, it's so funny because, you know, whenever I'm in New Orleans or whenever I get these new young clients, and after the first session, they're like, and I can come back and see. I said, yeah, you can come back. This is not what I thought it was. And I was always like, I'm the type of therapist that I would have needed when I was your age.
Come on.
You know, so I need you to hear what I'm saying. And what we have to do is go back and get these kids and give them what they need where they are. So much so that I'm learning how to do technology and use different medias that, you know, that's new to me. You know, so I think that this upcoming year, these podcasts, Joe, with you and I, and these Wellness Wednesdays are going to be better than you and I could have ever imagined.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to give out more information than we did when we was doing Mental Health Mondays. And we're going to bring in this new year, changing our community, changing our kids' lives.
And that's what it's all about, family. It's all about education, elevation, and the realization that we can be the best we can be. All we have to do is have each other's back. You know, so many times what saddens me is we get information and we hoard that information for ourselves and our little clique. You know, instead of sharing that information to the masses that we can all grow, develop, and become better. You know, Miss Harrison, I'm just loving you. Every time you come on, I'm gonna have to, you know, and she's making some great comments. You know, she just said here, Mr. Brown is right. We have to educate. Education is difficult as we want to think our way is the right way, you know, or the only way, you know, and we can be wrong, you know. So we've got to start looking at these things like she said in this comment, you know, and bringing to the forefront that we're not slow.
Nope.
We're not not uneducatable.
We're not inadequate.
Right. That we all we need. See, sometimes it's how you have to reach a person. Maybe you ain't got the skill set to reach a certain person, you know, and we just got to do better. And family, I believe we can do better. I believe we will do better. I want to once again plug Positive Choices. You see the phone number at the bottom. You see the website at the bottom. It's been scrolling the whole time. You know, tell a friend to tell a friend. If you need counseling, family counseling, marriage, relationship counseling, you know, if you need conflict resolution counseling,
anger management,
you know, anger management, you know, reach out to Positive Choices Counseling, and definitely reach out to Mr. Brown and his staff, and they will. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. You know, this brother knows I'll call him out the blue any given day and say, hey, man, I just need to talk to you.
And I'm there, you know,
and he there.
we're at this point now where we have too much, as they say, the old people used to say, lip service.
Right.
It's time to stop all of the lip service and start to reach out and go and get people where they are.
Come on.
And make them comfortable. Make them feel like, I'm okay if I have a problem. I'm all right if I'm not doing as well as I should. But I do know with the right help, I'll get back on track. Because if you believe, or if you've gone through your life without a speed bump or two, God bless you. Because I can't say that I have.
Oh, no.
I had some bad days, and I'm sure I'm going to have bad days ahead of me.
Right.
But I'm at the point in my life where I no longer look at reaching out for help as a weakness. I look at reaching out for help as what we're supposed to do as human beings. One of my, I tell you, just a few people I wanted to be when I was coming up, and Muhammad Ali was one of them. And Muhammad Ali said, service to mankind is the dues and the rent you pay for being on God's earth. So I think that we have to get back to reaching back, Sankofa, reaching back and to where we come from and bring people along with us on this journey of life. Because right now we're losing people, not just to the pandemic, but to mental illness.
Right.
And until we wipe away the stigma and understand mental health matters, until we start to normalize the use of mental health services as we do any other medical service, we're going to continue to fight this battle. I know I'm going to continue to fight because I know that Positive Choices and myself and a lot of my colleagues, we're committed to making and better the quality of somebody's life just a little bit.
Family, I can only say this, and I said this to someone right before we got on the show. I had a friend call me. We were talking about the ups and downs of life. Sometimes, the truth is a bitter pill. But I told that person it's hard trying to be perfect in an imperfect world. And sometimes we put a lot on ourselves trying to make other folk look at us and say we okay.
Yeah.
When the truth about it is, you just need to be okay with yourself. Everybody's not going to be okay with you. Everybody's not going to be okay with who you are, what you drive, where you live, where you went to school, your level of education. But long as you good with you, and sometimes you need to sit with people like Brother Brown who will make you understand your worth. Because guess what? Some folks will make you feel like if you ain't got a paper hanging on the wall, you ain't worth nothing. If you don't drive a Mercedes Benz, you ain't worth nothing. If you don't live in this side of town in this type of house, you ain't worth nothing. And better yet, there are even some folks that will take it to the level of spirituality to tell you ain't blessed. No. But let me tell you something. A lot of times the problem is we are the pariahs that feed on ourselves instead of us saying to you, guess what? Long as you good where you at, I'm good that you where you at and you happy to be where you at.
God bless you. That's what I say. God bless you. If we say if you like it, I love it. We're at the point now where the water's rising. And I don't have a problem helping people swim. But we're gonna have to get some of these rocks out of our pockets. Because these rocks that we carry along in our pockets make it a little bit harder for us to swim through this thing called life.
That's right.
And when you realize that these rocks in your pocket, it's okay to leave them. Hey, Brother Joe, we're going to talk about some stuff because one of the things we're going to talk about is that old cliche where people say, well, I got skeletons in my closet. Why? Why are you keeping them? Why are you still holding on to them? Look like you should clean out your closet. But we hold on to these skeletons because we have a tendency to want to go back and visit them. You know what I'm saying? We want to go back and look at them and go back and look at how bad things were. If we start saying, you know what? I'm going to leave that back there. I'm not bringing it with me. I'm not going back and look at these old skeletons that's in my, I'm going to take the duct tape off the closet and empty it out and fill it with some other things. And these are some of the things that this Wellness Wednesday is going to allow us to give to people and have folks to I'm so glad you're going to have the call in pretty soon. We can answer questions, but we are definitely going to take this journey. And I'm inviting anybody that sees this podcast to come along with us on this journey on Wednesdays.
Come
I'm
on.
good to be glad to be taking it with you, Brother Joe.
Oh man, we back in this thing.
Yeah.
100 BHK, the Black Station, Positive Choices Counseling Service Incorporated. Listen, we here because we know a healthy you is a better you. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're back. No longer mental health Mondays, but now it's Wellness Wednesday because we concerned about the whole you. The
That's right.
whole you. We had to switch some things up, change some things around, but it's going to be a blessing to all those who listen here and share. So tell a friend to tell a friend, share this with a friend. We're getting ready to get up out of here. And as I always do about this time, I'm going to let Brother Brown close us out. So, Brother Brown, it's on you, my friend.
Listen, you can no longer say that you don't have anywhere to go if you need help. You can no longer say that you have to navigate through this life without somebody to support you. Pick up the phone if you need to contact Positive Choices. If you don't do anything else, I invite you to tune in every Wednesday to this podcast. And I guarantee you will leave with some information to help you better the quality of life, which is the whole purpose and our mission with this podcast. So until next Wednesday, Brother Joe, I appreciate you having me. And I look forward to being here next week.
Hey, family, y'all have a good one. We get ready to get up out of here. Remember, once again, you don't have to go through this alone. The phone number's down there. The website's down there. Share this with a friend because a healthy you is a better you. And we want you to be whole, healthy, and well. We up out of here. Y'all be blessed. Have a great one. See you next Wednesday. We out. Peace.